Hi everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the EasyPLC Software Suite Quick Start. Now the EasyPLC Software Suite is a complete PLC, HMI, and machine simulator. The purpose of this Quick Start is to help you quickly learn this software suite. The manual that comes with EasyPLC Software Suite can always be referenced when required. We will be using the simple conveyor in a machine simulator. The EasyPLC PLC will be used to program the ladder logic for this simple conveyor. Compiling and transferring the program to the EasyPLC Virtual CPU, we will then demonstrate the control of the conveyor. An HMI will be programmed to indicate the direction of the conveyor. So let's get started. Detailed information contained in the video can be found at accautomation.ca. A link has been put in the description below. If you have not watched the other videos yet, there'll be links in the description below that will start you at video 1. There'll be links to the rest of the videos in the series as well. So prior, what we did was we installed the software, and you'll see a link below. And we have 4 different icons that appeared on our desktop. Now we'll be using each of these to demonstrate the EasyPLC software suite in this quick start. Now the EasyPLC will be used to write our PLC logic and HMI, or human machine interface code. EasyPLC will then compile this code into the Virtual PLC CPU. Machine Simulator will operate using the Virtual PLC CPU information. And the HMI system can then be run to display the HMI pages programmed. Now these software programs make up the main parts of the EasyPLC software suite. So the first thing we will do is look at the machine simulator, and we'll be doing this by double-clicking on the machine simulator, which calls up our actual machine simulator as we see here. In this particular version is 3.10. So there's 2 ways of getting to the actual machine that we're going to be programming, and that is through the machines right here or through the start. If we hit either one, it'll show all of our different machines that we can select. We will select the very first one here and just click on it once, and you will see that we have a description of what this actually will do. And basically it's a simple conveyor. We move a pallet back and forth. We can actually have a demonstration, and it will actually show this in operation just by itself, and you can quickly determine what the sequence of operation will be. But we're going to put start here, so we're going to start this machine simulator. And when we do, there's a few different things that we can see, and that is that we have no PLC currently connected here. We also have controls if a PLC was connected to start, stop, or reset, and that's for the EasyPLC Virtual PLC CPU. We have our I/O drivers if we want to connect to external hardware or software. Then we have our View I/O, which will actually view the inputs and outputs currently on this machine simulator. We have a Restart machine, and then we have our exit. So we can do all that with this software. Now without a PLC connected, we can still test, or what they call ring out, our I/O, and we can hit the advance, and it starts moving the motor forward. And we turn it off, or we turn it on, until our input sensor here sees that pallet. Then we can hit the reverse. It will reverse all the way until we see this sensor, or until we stop it. So we have full control over all the I/O that we have on this unit. And so much so that even if we run reverse, we can run it right off the pallet, and you can see that it actually physically looks like it's running right off. We can actually pick this up, we can put it back on, or what we can do is just reset this machine, or restart the machine. There we go. So we're back to where we started again. We can also take a look, and as we go forward, we can also hit the reverse, and what you'll notice is that that's not a good thing, because we have 2 motors conflicting, and it burns up the motors on us. So then when we turn these off, the smoke stops, but now our forward or reverse will not work until we reset the machine. So this literally is a a good representation of what's going to happen out there in the field. So once we have our machine simulator, what we'll do next is we will activate or start up our EasyPLC. And the EasyPLC, again, will be used to program this machine. So let's energize it. And it's going to start up. And here we go. So here is what it looks like when we first start. Again, no PLC connection down here. And the first thing we need to do is start a new project. We can do it from the icon, or we can do File, New Project. Either one. So once we do that, we have a selection, which is the project type. And the first one here means that we're going to be running an EasyPLC logic program only, and it just creates an empty one to write our logic. We have a machine simulator project, which is what we're going to be selecting. And then we have a machine simulator interface program. So if we have external devices that we want to mimic with this PLC directly, PLC logic. So let's do the machine simulator program, and we'll accept that. Then what's going to ask us is if we want to import the variables from this machine simulator. And we're going to say yes. And what we will do is go into our machine simulator and select My Machines. And we're going to select the top one here, which is the one we're programming on the simple conveyor. And it informs us that we have imported those variables successfully. So we'll hit OK. Now what you'll see is we have a Project Explorer, and under the project we have Hardware, Software, and HMI. So under Software, we have those variables that we just brought in, and here they are here. So this is a default. You can see my roller advanced and reverse. And you can see here that we have a photo cell 1 and photo cell 2. Then if we look under Hardware, we have our virtual PLC CPU, and it gives us a little bit of information on what it has, what's actually entails with it. And we have our I/O for a machine simulator, and this is the machine simulator 3. This is the default driver, which has 32 inputs, 32 outputs, 8 analog in, 8 analog out. We can do a config or a test, or we can actually do a configure and configure that to some other number if we want. You notice as I'm touching, or as I'm entering each one, we have a different tab that appears. These tabs can then be sequenced over by just clicking on them, or we can close each of the tabs and start right back from nothing again. So under Software, let's go into Program, because that's what we want to do right now. We want to program our simple machine simulator, and we'll go to the initial program. We have main and we have functions. Now the initial means that when the PLC first powers up, this is the code that it will run when you first start. If we look at towards our simple conveyor, we have a pallet sitting in the middle when the machine first starts. We need to make that move, say, to the right. So the first thing we'll do is put some logic in that will always move it to the right. So a couple ways we can do that. We can right click on initial and hit add sequence, or we can hit program and add new initial sequence. Either way will accomplish the same thing. So let's hit add sequence, and it automatically defaults to initial sequence 1. Then you'll notice that we have 5 different languages that we can choose from in order to program this. We're going to program, so we have ladder, we have script, we have function blocks, we have graph set, and we have instruction list. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the default ladder logic, and we'll hit accept. And now our initial sequence is right here. You can see it appears in a tab, and we have all these different symbols now for our ladder logic. We have our contact, negative contact, we have our comparative, coil, set, reset, we have our differential or our pulse on the leading edge of a signal, trailing edge of a signal. We have our jump coil. We have a serialized coil. We have counters, timers, function blocks or data blocks, function calls. We have register transfers. We have jump labels. We can add comments, add header text, and we can draw on this. This is our connecting lines, cable right. We have cable down, up, and we have delete. We also have add spaces between segments, reduce spaces between segments, and we have move segment to the right. And we have zoom out and zoom in. And then we have a standard view. So several different options that we can have for our writing. So the first thing we'll do is just click on an empty space here in our work area or workspace, and you'll see that we have a dotted line here. Then all I have to do is select the symbol. We're going to use a negative contact, and we're going to say photocell number 1. So if photocell number 1 is not on, then what we want to do is we want to advance that conveyor to the right, or set that conveyor to the right. So we're going to set up a set coil, and we will call up our roller advance. And this is the, again, initial sequence. So it's when it first powers up the CPU, what's going to happen. So in our case here, we're going to move that roller conveyor to the right. Now, if it's actually on photosensor 1, then what we want to do is actually, we don't want to go to the right because the pallet will fall off. So what we'll do is we will set our reverse so that the pallet won't fall off. It'll go back the other way. So that is our initial sequence. Next, what we'll do is under the main will run our main program all the time, so that's running cyclically. So it will constantly be running, and we're going to write some code now for it to control our simple conveyor back and forth. Again, we can go program, add new main, or we can right click on here and we can add that sequence. Again, the default is main sequence 1. Again, we're going to default to ladder logic, and we will hit accept. And here we go. We'll click on here, and this time when we have input sensor number 1, what we want to do is we want to reset our advance, and then we want a cable down here, and then we want to set our reverse. And following down here, if we have sensor number 2, we will want to reset reverse, and we will want to, after reset reverse, we want to set, and we will set our advance. So that is our program. Very simple. It just sees one sensor and it moves it the other way. So what we'll do first of all is save our project, and we're going to save under projects here, and we will select, let's call this quick start. Let's save. Then what we want to do is we want to compile our program. We'll say compile and transfer. So it tried to send this to our virtual PLC CPU, but it's not running. So it's asking me if I want to execute that virtual PLC CPU. And just to remind us that it is actually this one right here. I can start this manually, or what I can do is start this by the EasyPLC editor. So let's do this. We'll just do it manually, or start it by the EasyPLC editor. And right now it's saying that my virtual PLC CPU is now running. And I'll say OK. What this does is put the virtual PLC into my icons on my computer at the bottom of the screen. So I know that it is actually running. And so it actually adds it right here. And what I can do is we can actually click on it or double click on our item, and it will actually bring up our virtual machine and show us the actual status. So here you can see that we're in stop mode, and we're disconnected from our editor. So in order to connect to the editor, what we do is just hit the connect online with PLC. And remember, this is actually going to connect online to our virtual PLC, and here we are. And we know we're connected because we have it right here. It says PLC is in stop mode, so it's telling us exactly what mode it's in. And now if I look at my machine simulator, you'll notice that since I started my virtual PLC CPU, we have it now in stop mode. And here I can start and stop my CPU, like I said before. Or I can go to the editor, and we have our run mode here, our stop mode here. We also have our reset virtual CPU, and we have our force IO here. So we can do a few things. Or we can monitor our program, our initial sequence, or our main sequence right here. So what we can do is, let's put this in run mode. So let's put it going into run mode. We can look at our machine simulator, and you can see now that it is going back and forth. So let's make sure that it's going the other way and going reverse, so we can actually monitor that. At the same time that's running, you can see that we can go back to our editor, and we can see when it hits the reverse, it'll do this and then send this signal. So we can actually troubleshoot it here as well. Or we can look at enforce the IO or view the IO. So a couple different ways in which we can do that. So the next thing we'll do is actually now look at our HMI and programming in our HMI. So what we'll do is disconnect from the CPU, and we'll go to HMI, and we'll say new HMI page, and it defaults to HMI page 0, and that's what it looks like. So let's make that a little smaller. And the first thing we'll do is add a label. This looks just like Visual Studio, and when we put that on there, we have a label, and here is the information on that label down here. So my font, let's just change this to say bold, and we'll do 28. And we can go down to where it says text, and we'll change this to EasyPLC Quick Start. And you see it's not quite big, so let's just make it a little bigger. There we go. And it now looks pretty good. So that is a text. Then what we're going to do is add a couple of control, and we'll do the graphic LED. Put one here, and under the graphic LED, the context, will link our variable here, and we'll call this one's actually going to be the roller advance. There we go, and that's it there. Then what we'll do is we'll actually just copy that, and then we'll paste. And there we go. And then we'll change this to roller reverse. So this top one will do forward, the bottom one will do reverse. So that's going to be our entire page So what we'll do is hit save. And again, this is just a quick example of how this actually works. And we'll do our program, compile and transfer. Here we go. Uploading, and you see our PLC is stopped. We're going to accept that. We'll connect onto that. PLC stopped. And we can take a look at that PLC. Looks just like that. Again, we can hit Start PLC and stop. Again, just to make sure that you can see that the buttons actually do work here. Then going back to our editor, you'll see that we can have our connection. We can launch our HMI system. And our HMI system, we'll just minimize that a little bit here. All right, looks just like that. Remember, that's our forward, that's a reversed symbol. And what we will do is then call back our simulator, and we will start that. And you can see right now, there's our reverse. And then when it hits the end, it'll go forward again. So very easy to create and learn in this virtual reality, both our PLC, our HMI, or human machine interface, and the way to program and to operate real life using this machine simulator. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below. If you have any questions about the video, please leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer it. If you want more information about us or you want our free ebooks on numbering systems or robust data logging, please click on the link in the description below to get it. A new video is put out every Monday, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get more videos like this in the future. Remember to click the bell beside your subscription to actually receive those notifications. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Stay safe.